Hello, this is Joe with Smoking Joe's Pit Barbecue, and you are listening to The Barbecue Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. This show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, live fire fun and frivolity show. If in the new year you want to get in touch with the show or follow the show, here's how you do that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you get the newsletter. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, it is the first Tuesday of a brand new year, which, by the way, in case somebody didn't tell you already, 2023 rapidly coming to a close. Nevertheless, joining me out of the gate as he does the first Tuesday of every month for the last handful of years in that first interview segment, none other than the pitmaster of Killer Hogs competition team and the founder of How to BBQ Right, the subsequent YouTube channels and social media platforms. Malcom Reed kicks off the new year with us. Absolutely. So we have plenty to talk about too with Malcom. He missed last month. He's out hunting, so we'll get a recap of hunting. We'll talk about some 2023 stuff. We'll talk business in the store. Plenty of good banter to go around between Malcom and I, so stay tuned for that. And then 35 past the hour. If you're somebody that's in the business of barbecue, whether you're trying to peddle a ware or service or product, maybe you're in the restaurant and you are not a member of the National Barbecue and Grilling Association, or you don't even know anything about it, you might want to stay tuned for 35 past, because joining me then is none other the newish owner of NBBQA and the longtime owner of Barbecue News. Kell Phelps joins us once again. You might recall that we talked to Kell, it might have been the end of April or beginning of May when that whole transaction took place, taking NBBQA out of the nonprofit and, let's call it mediocrity that it was in for the last handful of years and turning it into a for-profit business. And we'll talk to Kell about how these last handful of months have gone. We'll also preview the annual conference that's coming up next month. So if you're on the fence about that, he'll be able to give you a little insight. If you are not looking at their website to see what's going on, you're just tuning in for the first time, you didn't know anything about it, he'll give you a little bit of insight on what you can expect if you decide to go next month, which is in about 6 weeks from now. I think it's February 15th through the 18th or something like that. So Kell Phelps to close out the first hour. Then we will move to the second hour, and much like Malcom Reed graces us in the first hour on the first Tuesday of every month, in the second hour, one of the most prolific live fire and cooker YouTube shows on YouTube. Wow, that's a lot of nothing to say right there. Sam the Cooking Guy will be joining us for the first time. And Aaron Huntelman has it right on Facebook this year, rapidly coming to a close, no doubt about it. I'm the first one to say it each and every year, and everybody laughs at this time. But 10 months from now and 11 months from now, you're all going to be saying, man, Rempe was right. Back in January, we had no idea how quickly 2023 was rapidly coming to a close. Anyway, 10:14, Sam the cooking guy, and with whatever remaining time we may or may not have, and if we don't have any time, then this is all for naught. However, we do have a bottle of Hardcore Carnivore Black Rub. If you're a fan of that, sometime after Sam breaks away, if he does, we will put it up for the giveaway for this evening. So that's what you have to look forward to. Malcom Reed, Kell Phelps in the first hour, Sam the cooking guy, and a potential giveaway in the second hour. Don't forget, you can follow me socially, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat at BBQ Central Show. We say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of the video streaming platforms. You can go to Facebook and Twitch/BBQ Central Show to watch. Also, you can go ahead over to YouTube/RD Rempe. I also want to take a second to say good evening to those folks using the audio streaming platform Clubhouse as well. So if you'd rather hear us and not watch us, Clubhouse is the way to do that. I was trying to utilize Clubhouse in a brand new way because constantly I am dumping on Clubhouse. My fans are dumping on me for dumping on Clubhouse or for using Clubhouse, and I thought if I just maybe try it through the phone interface, that might make it even easier. And while I have one cable, the thing that I don't ever remember is the fact that all phones have gone away from the 3.5 millimeter input, and they all have the USB-C or the lightning cable or whatever, depending on what platform you use. And I don't have the dongle for that, everybody. No, I'm dongleless. So it is streaming through Clubhouse this evening. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to use it because it was a little shaky last week, and I don't want to put myself through the lambasting that Sam might give me if we decide to use it in his segment. So if you want to listen to it audibly, it is available. Now, this week's poll, which is on YouTube currently, are you going to do the butter candle trend that is on social media right now? It is sweeping the nation. It's the first trend out of 2023. The answers are hell yes, hell no, or already did it, chump. And 83% of you currently that are weighing in are saying hell no, you're not going to do it. But we'll see how many of you really stick to your guns on that, especially if you're looking to be social media mavens in 2023. So let's start here this evening. It will probably come as no surprise that the most email I got on the show last week was the origin story of Noah Glanville from Pit Barrel Cooker. And even with the abrupt cutoff at the end, many of you were enthralled with the story, especially the openness and honesty with which he talked about the military portion of his life and how that has shaped/affected him to current day. And I'll be honest, when I was conducting an interview that starts to go into that direction, I'm not sure how far I go to mine or dig for information or for answers because I don't want to leverage any relationship I have with someone to the point where it makes them feel like they have to answer the question. I don't want that. I want to create an environment that makes them feel safe and comfortable enough to reveal whatever they want to reveal. I never want them to feel like they have to do something. And I spoke with Noah the next day. He assured me that he was feeling very comfortable and that I was conducting an interview that made him feel like he could answer the questions I was asking without any thought or without any worry. It was just conversational, and that was that. I also know that many of the interviews that he's done in the industry don't have anything to do, and nobody is ever asking him about his military background, and I feel that is important to at least give a platform to talk about it. And to his credit, he did openly and honestly. So I will agree with those of you who said that the interview was compelling, absolutely inspirational, unquestioned. It was, not to mention, the business he and his wife, Amber, are running and doing great and are poised to continue success into 2023. So once again, I thank Noah Glanville once more for very real conversation last week on the show, which I certainly appreciated. And many of you did as well. I do have a competing thought on that. in the second hour, so stay tuned for that. Mike in Ohio writing in, Greg, count me in as one happy Centralite to hear that the Barbecue Central show American Idols is coming back this season. While it seemed like Doug, John, and Rusty would have rather jumped off the nearest bridge after learning of the news, I was very excited, and I'm looking forward to hearing what Amber Glanville from Pit Barrel will bring to the table this season. Happy late Christmas to us all. Love the show. Regards, Mike. Mike, you might be the only one that is enthralled with that. James in Virginia writing in, Greg, I was listening to the show for last Tuesday, and all I can say is, no! How dare you go back on your word that if you won the American Idol show, you would kill the bit. You, sir, are a liar. There's a good chance I won't listen to those shows. However, I do love the show. Regards, James. James, I don't want to put you in the state that I live in consistently and constantly, which is in the state of hypocrisy, to where you're telling me you won't listen, but maybe you will listen. Don't say you won't. You might. And we'll just leave it at that. It's okay if you do. It's okay if you don't. That's what I say, James. Malcom Reed is ready to go. Before we get to him, I will talk to you about the newest sponsor of the show, the NBBQA. I was just talking about. Since 1991, National Barbecue and Grilling Association has been the voice of the barbecue and grilling industry by helping members network and learn from proven professionals. Now, the new leader, Kell Phelps, looking to take the history of that organization and move it to new heights in 2023 and beyond. And they start their NBBQA annual conference next month, which is currently open for registration. You can go to NBBQA.org, and it's all right there on the main page to check out further. Now, if you're someone in the business of barbecue and grilling and you are looking to stay on top of trends, market your business better, learn from the folks who have done it right, and continue to evolve in this market that itself is ever-changing, then this is the conference you want to attend. It starts on Wednesday, February 15th, and goes through Saturday, February 18th. It is being held at the beautiful and, dare I say, majestic Wyndham Orlando Resort and Conference Center in the Celebration area of Orlando, so it's all encased in one location. Make your reservations now and then take advantage of being around the most successful people in the industry during those 4 days. Walk right up to, let's say, Mo Cason or Dr. Barbecue or Mark Lambert or Tuffy Stone. The list goes on, and then ask them the questions you want to have answered. You will be surprised at how approachable and open they are to help you succeed in this industry. They are in this industry too. They want to see everybody have success. Once again, February 15th through the 18th in Orlando. Go to nbbqa.org for all the information, lodging, pricing. Don't miss out. And if you aren't a member yet, consider joining and then have access to videos and other info that you might not be able to see live and in person. You can get it in video at your leisure. Once again, that is February 15th through the 18th this year in Orlando, nbbqa.org for more information or to book it up. We will be back with Malcom Reed in just 1 second. Stick around. Be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. All you have to do is go to cookinpellets.com. That's COOKIN pellets.com and check out all the flavors that they have and then purchase directly. You won't be disappointed. Longtime sponsor of the show back in 2023, which we certainly appreciate. This question coming in from Smokin' Joe's Pit Barbecue. You should interview Sam, the cooking guy, the same way. Sam has a very interesting story on everything leading up to his current business. Joe, where the hell have you been? Where do you think the idea of the origin stories came from? From my regular monthly guests? Was it last year or 2 years ago? Malcom will be able to tell me here when we pull him up, but I decided to try out origin stories, or the ideas of the origin stories, by throwing away a traditional format with the monthly recurring guests and blocking out an hour. Meathead went 2 hours. John Marcus, 2.5 hours, but at least an hour of talking about everything that led up to where their successes in the live fire industry. So there is a whole origin story, Joe, in the podcast feed on Sam the Cooking Guy, on Malcom Reed, on Meathead, on Stephen Reichlin, on Derek Riches, on almost all of the embedded correspondents. We're still trying to nail down John. So this is not a new idea. This is one that has been growing for the last couple of years. So hit that podcast feed, Joe, and find all the origin stories on the show regulars that you would like. Notwithstanding that, we race to the hotline and welcome back one of those origin storytellers, Malcom Reed. Malcom, that was like the best time of your life, right? Doing the origin story?
That's right. It had to be 2 years ago. I know last year we did the roundtable stuff, so it had to be 2 years ago.
I remember specifically, if it's one thing that I'll remember Malcom Reed sharing in the origin story, is that when he was growing up as a run-arounder, that he was an employee at the Pizza Hut, and they shut it down, and they did WWE-style wrestling in the Pizza Hut. I mean, you're not going to find those stories anywhere else but right here on the Barbecue Central show, for crying out loud.
That's true story. True story.
All right, so Malcom, Happy New Year to you, and first and foremost, I want to thank you for the gift of the Mississippi State University cheese, and I have to say, I looked at it in the box. I'm like, well, there's no card. I only know a very limited number of people that might send me Mississippi State. That's also Ole Miss, right? Or is that different?
No, that's totally different. That's totally different than Ole Miss. Yeah, that's Mississippi State is Shell's alma mater.
Yankee here, Yankee here. Everything is the South and the same. Okay, so the Mississippi State, I almost said Michigan State, which is a terrible faux pas on my part for many reasons. But the Mississippi State cheese was incredible. The spread was so good, I walked away from it during Christmas Day lunch. We had some boyfriends over. We were getting ready to have the Kevin Green Butcher Shop prime rib that John Solberg had sent me. I turned my back for 2 seconds, and one of those goddamn cats jumped up on the table, started licking it. He just couldn't get his face out of it. Quickly, the cheese spread became the cat's cheese spread. But if I talked to Cat, I'm sure he would be telling me to thank you for what ended up being his gift. But everything else, the hard cheese, the cheese ball, the cheese square, I mean, it was all, where do you just run upon this cheese? And are you a cheese aficionado?
So, no, Mississippi State's been selling that for years. You know, they're a big agricultural school. They have a big dairy program where they make cheese and stuff like that. And they only sell it. I think that you have to get your orders in like way early in the fall, like, you know, before the end of October, if you want to get it for the holiday season. So I think you can go to Mississippi State throughout the year. They have like a store, but to get it shipped and all that, it's like one time a year. And so it just makes great holiday gifts. And we love sharing it with people that aren't from Mississippi. So you can try to, you know, see how we do things down here, but it is good stuff.
Absolutely. Malcom Reed joining us here on the show. To BBQ Right. .com is the website, of course, and you can find him on social media handles at the same thing. Also, the Pitmaster Killer Hogs competition team. We'll talk about that here in a second. So last time you were on, Malcom, you were heading into full-blown hunting season. We've now turned the year here. Maybe you're off, maybe you're not, but how did hunting season go for you guys?
It's going good so far. We're halfway through. I came back home.
Goes on forever.
Came back to the office just to come on with you, Greg, or otherwise I'd probably still be at camp.
Well, thank you. I'm certainly honored.
It's been a good hunt. It's been a good hunting season so far.
Not to sound like a complete hunting rube, but from what I can recall, at least up here, and I'm sure from state to state, maybe it changes a little bit. The beginnings of hunting season are with a bow, or you're not allowed to use a gun, and then at some point the gun law kicks in where you can then just start shooting. Similar down in Mississippi then?
Yeah, it starts in October for archery. So, but I usually don't get going until November because October's always a busy month for us. I don't have time. But once, we get through we get Thanksgiving here, I kind of slow down. So I take the month of December and January to to get out in the woods and do a little traveling too. I got to go to Texas and do some hunting. I've got to go squirrel hunting down on, in the Mississippi River on an island down there. That was fun. And then we've been duck hunting too. So it's been it's been busy.
How much meat through the various species have you collected where you're going to be able to eat off of that?
I'm working on stocking the freezer. I still got some room for some more. We've been working on summer sausage recipe, and I think I got it nailed down, man. I got to send you some. But if you've never had, venison summer sausage, we're doing a jalapeno and cheese version, and it's fantastic.
Is Rochelle a game eater?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she likes it. In fact, just last week, she came down and said that, we were doing some duck that we did, and we just did it, we wanted to taste the duck, so we just seasoned it, threw it on the grill, seared it hot and fast, and she said she didn't know that she liked duck so much that it was that good. So, yeah, she likes game.
Best Christmas present you got this year?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I'm probably going to say I've got a really nice Damascus steel knife, skinning knife, so. It's called a Half Face is the brand, but Rochelle picked it out for me. It's beautiful. Almost don't want to use it, but I'm gonna have to break it in on the next deer I shoot.
Maybe this is a topic that we've never even broached that much on the show in the history of the show. I think knives just are considered something that you own. Every once in a while, you'll see on social media or somebody asking a question, "What should I get for knives?" Somebody's asking you that, like, what's your best suggestion on knives? Because having sharp, good knives are really key to the whole success right from the get-go.
Well, being a barbecue guy, and I do gift a lot of knives, I usually, if I want to give somebody a nice knife, there's a Shun roast slicer, and that's usually what me and Rochelle buy for someone. I think it's about a $250 knife. Wow. It's not cheap, but it's a heavier, it's a Japanese knife. It's, really great for cooking briskets. And that's what Waylon and I use in the barbecue trailer when we're out doing contests. We use one of those knives. So it's something that you can be proud to own too. It's a really nice knife.
What was the best Christmas gift you gave?
Well, we gave my son some Morgan Wallen tickets. It'll be his first concert.
Some who?
So Morgan Wallen, you may not know who that is. He's a country guy. But my son's never been to a show, and he's been begging us to take him to one. He's playing down at Ole Miss, Vaught Hemingway Stadium in April. So we got him tickets to go see him. We're going to take him.
I would assume. So when he opens it, is it yelling and screaming? Is it just like face agape? Oh, my God, I can't have these tickets. What's a kid act like these days when they get something they really want?
Yeah, he gets pretty excited. I don't know if he's yelling and screaming, but it's definitely exciting.
You are a social media diverse, let's put it that way, way more than me. So let's break down the entities one by one for at least the first part of 2023 here. YouTube-wise, which most of my fan base and a lot of the folks know you from the YouTube channel. Of course, you've been doing it for, how long has it been now? 15 years, 16 years, whatever it is. As long as I've been doing the podcast, it seems like you've been doing the YouTube channel. So what should we as subscribers expect this year from the How to BBQ Right channel?
Man, we're still going to be pumping out our videos. I think we're going to see, a lot of good recipe videos, but you're going to see a lot of short content too. YouTube is really doubling down on short content. They're playing catch up in a way to TikTok.
Yep.
So they've realized that people's attention spans are growing smaller, and that people are using their mobile devices to get this content, and they're wanting to fly through it when they're looking at it. So they're they're really pushing for creators to make the short form content. But we're still going to do TikTok. We'll still have stuff on Facebook, Instagram. The podcast, me and Michelle have so much fun with our podcast, thanks to you for kind of getting us into podcast format. But it's a way just to sit down and talk for an hour and to, get into some deeper discussions on stuff that's not really like recipe driven. I mean, we talk barbecue, but it can go anywhere. So that's what we're really focusing on.
When you talk about the shorter format there on YouTube and how they're trying to play catch up, is it just as simple as looking at it and evaluating the fact that most of the people that are consuming this are millennials or younger, and they've just been trained to want to see it in 2 minutes or less or whatever it is?
I think so. I think it's just a faster paced world. You talked earlier about how, 2023 is already coming to a close. It's the same thing with content. I mean, we're just moving at a faster clip. So I think the short form content is just something when somebody's got their phone in their hand, they can thumb through it so fast. So, I mean, the one thing that's different with it is you have to be really catchy to get someone to stop and watch your 60-second, whatever it is, video short form. And it's kind of a challenge to get your whole point across in that amount of time, because if you're trying to do a recipe and you only have a minute to do it, you've got to be moving. The editing really has to be crisp. It has to be interesting the whole time to get them to watch it before they're thumbing across. But I think it's different too. I mean, if someone wants to watch a real recipe to learn how to cook something, they're going to go to the long form. That's why YouTube long form is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
There's so much great stuff being created on it. You just have to up your game on all aspects.
So within that 60-minute clip, are you purposefully trying to set a hook? You're showing them a little razzle dazzle, and then at the end, is there always a hook to say, if you want to see the whole thing or you want to see a more in-depth run, make sure that you check out X, or do you not even bother with that?
I mean, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Most of the time, it's just something that I don't think deserves a long-form video. So, it might be a shorter recipe. It might not be barbecue at all. It might just be something I'm cooking, but it's just interesting and it's a different look. It's a way to gain some exposure on something other than being at the grill sometimes, or, it could be anything. I do a lot of drinks on there. I mean, people love the drinks on there, and it's easy for me to get a drink across in 60 seconds. And it's an excuse to drink during the day.
Why not? Malcolm, I think this is something that's never happened during our segment. I'm going to show you right now, but look who we have stopping in the instant chat right here. The world-famous TikTok Tyler is in the instant chat here this evening. So, Tyler, we welcome you with open arms. Happy that you could stop by. Social media channel-wise, aside from trying to get somebody in 60 seconds or share some of those recipes that you can get across, is there a theme that you're looking to run over a certain amount of months? I mean, you have a big enough following where I guess you could set an agenda or try and run a certain agenda if you wanted to. Do you ever think about it like that?
Well, really, we just try to be engaging. I mean, there's so much content out there now. You don't necessarily have to be different, but it has to be good content. You have to throw something out there. You have to really think about your intros to stuff. You kind of do it with your show. The intro is the most important. That's what sets up to watch the whole thing. So if we think about how we put these videos together, whether it's short form or long form, you really have to, be engaging off the bat. You have to kind of have that high point, that low point, and that high point to bring them back, and then close it out. That's kind of how we look at everything we do. And so as far as a theme across all of it, we really don't worry about that. We kind of set videos throughout the year, what we're going to do according to holidays or the time of year grilling season's going on. But for everything else, we just kind of get some ideas and, we practice them some, and then we throw it out there. And if it doesn't work, we don't do it. There's some stuff we can just because it didn't turn out as good as we really want to put out good content versus just putting out content. It's easy to dump a bunch of stuff out there, but we want it to be quality.
Malcom Reed joining us here on the show, howtobbqright.com, the website, of course, and the same on social media handles. The YouTube question, Malcolm, is, are you going to take part in the butter candle trend that has shot right at the turn of the year here in 2023? Currently, 82% of the folks on YouTube saying hell no, 18% saying hell yes. Nobody is admitting yet that they've actually done it. So somebody who at least sees the bleeding edge of what's trending in food, are we going to see a How to Barbecue Right butter candle make an appearance at some point before everybody's past it in a week?
I feel so bad, Greg, because I had no idea what you're talking about. When
Really?
you said that earlier, I was like, "What is this?" I mean, you got to understand. I've been on hunting. I've been hunting for the past 30-something days. I haven't been on social media, so I had no idea what trends are going on. I tuned out, man. I don't load to. Tyler probably knows because he's the one that's kind of been manning the ship while I've been out. But when you mentioned it earlier, I had no clue what the butter trend is. I'm going to look it up as soon as we get through.
Well, I figured that this was burning so hot, even if you were stuck up in a blind for the last 30 days, somewhere a carrier pigeon might have dropped a sheet of paper on you and said, Malcolm, check out this new thing. And just as the year turns, all of a sudden this thing is shot out of a cannon. Basically, you're melting butter, you're putting it in some kind of a holster, you're running a wick down it, you let it harden up, and now then you peel it out of the cup or whatever the hell you're putting it in. And now you have a candle because it's got a wick in it, but it's a ball of butter. And now you light it, and then it starts to heat up, and you take a nice little crusty piece of bread, and you can work it around the flame, and you have buttered bread, and you stick it in. 2023 food trend, just like that. Butter candle. Does that trip your trigger?
I'm all about some butter and bread now. That's I'm not going to knock that. I might have to give it a shot.
All right, well, you're going to have to convince Tyler because in the instant chat, he's saying he doesn't know if the butter trend is going to fit in the future of How to Barbecue Right. Tyler, we're not saying no to anything when it comes to social media. We're always going to consider it. And I'm with Malcolm. I like butter. I like bread, and mixing those two together and possibly having a light source in case in the middle of a winter storm, all your power goes out. You can have light. And you can eat a nice butter piece of bread while you're waiting the power company to turn it back on. So
what about a tallow candle, Greg? Why wouldn't that work?
Why not? I mean, if you got tallow laying around, that could be the next trend. You're going to be upping the trend game. You know what? Screw the butter. We're going to go tallow candle. I'm with you on that one. So let's start hashtagging immediately. Tyler, get on the board right there and start hashtagging tallow candle, and we'll take credit for it next month when it really hits here, Malcolm. So towards the end of the year, we were talking about some pretty significant issues going on with your favorite contest each and every year, which is Memphis in May, especially as it related to security deposits. I tried my damnedest to get in touch with the festival. I made a contact with somebody. I sent multiple follow-up messages to see what was going on. I had heard from the Parks Department, and they were very straightforward, very transparent on what they were doing with the festival, but said whatever the festival is doing to the vendors or competitors, that's certainly on them, has nothing to do with us. So as somebody that has competed, you were hearing the same things that we were talking about. What has resolved or hasn't?
Well, so they released the applications to sign up. I know we got ours in. I want to say, it went up some. The spaces were restricted down. They immediately said they're not going to have as many teams. So if you want to compete, you got to get those applications in. They did do a security deposit. Don't quote me on this, but I want to say it was $450. And I think maybe $350 of it's non-refundable, something like that. But it wasn't that much more than it typically is.
Well, the last time we were talking about it, they were saying $7,800 for vendors and teams.
Yeah. That was the initial talk that came out. I don't know, and so I'm glad to see that they didn't try that. I guess, word got out, but we went ahead and sent our application in. Now it'll still be months before, well, it'll at least be another month, I think, before they pick the teams that are going to be in it. Usually they run applications to mid-February, something like that. So that's the deadline. So we should find out soon after that if we made it. But as far as we know, it's going forward at Tom Lee Park.
All right, so we'll see if How to Barbecue Right and Killer Hogs is picked to take part in the 2023 Memphis in May. Fingers crossed, and we'll look for the updates as you get them. Appreciate the recap and catching up here, Malcolm. I will release you back to the wild and getting into the blind there. Always appreciate the time. Again, Happy New Year, and we'll look for you in February.
Hey, happy 23, Greg. We're going to do it this year, man. Have a good one.
All right, there he is, Malcom Reed right there from How to Barbecue Right, coming out of the blind and doing the segment. Now he's going to go gear back up and take down the rest of you deer. And when you're done taking all the deer down in Mississippi, Malcolm, come up here to Cleveland and take them all out here. They're a nuisance. They're like squirrels, but with antlers. Well, they're not like anything like squirrels. They're like deer. Kell Phelps from the NBBQA and Barbecue News is ready to rock and roll. Before we get to him, we welcome back, not a new sponsor, but we welcome back an old but new to 2023 sponsor, Pits and Spits. The best looking, best cooking smokers and grills on the market. Pits and Spits offers a full family of products including traditional offset smokers, wood pellet grills, charcoal grills, travel grills, combination pits, or as I would say, hybrid cookers, fire pits, and much more. Pits and Spits has been one of the only American fabrication shops that's focused on smokers and grills for almost 40 years. Why is that important? They're able to put an emphasis on quality and design, locally sourced materials, and unmatched attention to detail. From the fully welded barrels to the heavy gauge steel, they bring both function and beauty to life. That's not no joke either. I mean, just look at those pits. They are absolutely spectacular. Pits and Spits builds every product with the intention that it's going to get passed down from generation to generation. Now, whether you're into competition barbecue or you just want to take that backyard grilling and barbecue game to the next level, there's a product for you in the Pits and Spits lineup. Check it out at pitsandspits.com, all spelled out. That's pitsandspits.com. Or at the end of the .com, add a /BBQ Central. And as you check out with that brand new cooker, or you accumulate $500 or more of accessories or whatever it is you're into, use promo code BBQ Central at checkout, and you will get a absolutely free spice pack. Once again, with your order of $500 or more, that's pitsandspits.com /BBQ Central. And then as you accumulate $500 or more in checkout, use promo code BBQ Central for a free spice pack. Check out. Be the first one to buy that hybrid cooker. I will have you on my show. We will talk all about having an offset on one side and a pellet cooker on the other side. What could be better than that? You'll tell me, because you'll own one, you'll use it, and you come on this show, I promise you. Pitsandspits.com /BBQ Central. We are back right after this. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
And we thank Malcom Reed for joining us last segment. This portion brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck. Fireboard, fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. And don't sleep. Fireboard Spark, an instant read meat thermometer, and a one-channel Fireboard all on its own. So check them out at fireboard.com. My next guest tonight has been covering the work of the live fire industry through the Barbecue News publication, and mid-last year bought the trade organization, the National Barbecue and Grilling Association, and took it from a nonprofit to a for-profit entity in hopes of bringing it out of the, let's call it, malaise it had lingered in for the past number of years, and getting it to that next level of success that he knows he can do. Next month, the national conference for the NBBQA takes place in Orlando, Florida. Without any further ado, we race to the hotline and welcome back friend of the show, Kell Phelps. Hey, Kell.
Hey, Greg, man. Thanks for having us, brother.
Absolutely. Appreciate you making time. And the last time you were on, let's call it late April, early May of last year, we talked about why you decided to pull the trigger and buy NBBQA. But not only that, you were taking it to a for-profit business versus the nonprofit that had existed previous to that. So what do those past 7 or so months looked like, and where does it rate on your chart of success or not as we turn into 2023?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I can tell you, for the last few months we've been really tied up making the conference come to life, building it again. But before that, it was a whole lot of data filtration, trying to figure out, who was actually members, trying to get that data so we could stay in touch with old members and try to revamp and go from there. But man, it was a mess. A lot of record keeping had fell down through the cracks last couple of years as nobody was actually running the association itself other than the board members. So when you do that, everybody's already got 80-hour-a-week jobs, and then they try to run an association on top of that, man. A lot of stuff gets swept under the rug and just, hey, let's survive in a survival mode. And when you do that, you survive, but that's about all we were doing. And so we tried to come in and revamp some of the data and make sure we at least had 4,000 people in our database that we could connect to that we knew we had dealt with in the past. And we wound up with about half of that we could actually use. So, in our world, of course, your world's the same thing. Numbers is a good thing. The more numbers you got, the more phone calls you can make, the more contacts you have. So it gives you a better chance to succeed. But good thing is as we're rolling forward, a ton of support have come out of the woodworks from folks that we hadn't heard from in a while and said, hey, listen, what can we do? And so it's exciting. I think we're going to have a huge time coming up in Orlando for sure.
When you're doing the due diligence, whatever that looked like prior to executing this whole thing last year, do you notice that record keeping isn't being up to snuff per se? Or when I talk to other folks buying other businesses, we talk about what kind of an investigation were you doing? And, even when I had Jeremy Andrus on last February and he was talking about doing due diligence in Traeger, what did it look like 5, 6, 7 months into it after they took over? And he had readily admitted that there were many things that he didn't realize were going on, or that there were things bubbling within the workforce that was more or less toxic that they had to change. I'm not saying that NBBQA was toxic by any stretch, but obviously there were things not transpiring that you would like to see, just general business stuff happening on a day-to-day basis. So long way to go to ask you if you had full visibility of all this and this was just things you were going to have to work through, or did you anticipate there were going to be things that you were going to have to work through? You just didn't know which items those were going to be.
Yeah, so outside looking in, I had the opportunity to work with these guys as we built the conference last year hand in hand. So we had a chance to kind of peek at the books and go in. Everything was real transparent. So we just knew that things weren't really organized very well. But the information, we knew what we were getting into. It wasn't like, we opened up the books and then it was a big booger man sticking out trying to scare us away or whatever. It was nothing like that. We just, the timing on the whole deal turned out to be super good. I mean, coming out of the COVID deal, events started happening again and people were excited about going and doing again. So, I think that timing was probably just about perfect for us to go and do what we did. And, still, I mean, we're a long way from being out of the woods where, we can wipe the sweat off our brow and take a break for just a minute. We're a long way from that. We're just keeping our head down and just keep chopping, man. That's it. So
we'll talk about the conference here in a second, Kell, but as you look ahead, maybe the first part of 2023, once we're past the conference, because you've been doing a lot of work on that, what plans do you have for NBBQA as the organization?
So it's events. Our biggest thing, what we try to do is expand people's networks, help them in their barbecue world, their barbecue venture. And we do that by using members who are willing to share information, share their time with those who are getting into the barbecue world, whether it be business side or whether it be just even the backyard, somebody wanting to do better, not necessarily professional side. So what we want to do is try to tap into some of those events that already exist and maybe step in there and have some master barbecue classes with those guys. We'll do the very first ones are set to happen in Orlando. Tremendous opportunity there. 2-day classes with multiple world champions coming in for about an 8-hour deal. $300, I think. You can do the class for 2 days and get to know what those guys do hands on and Q&A with them, sample with them. That is the signature deal that we want to tee off with, and then take that out to other events across the country, moving forward, and do miniature conferences, smaller events like that, maybe.
Kell Phelps joining us here on the show, the managing partner of the NBBQA, the website NBBQA.org, if you want to check it out here as we're talking. So as I had mentioned in the open, this coming February 15th through the 18th, the annual conference for NBBQA happens. If you don't mind telling us a little bit about the history of this event and the importance, at least in your opinion, of why this event takes place each year.
Yeah, so National Barbecue and Grilling Association started in 1991. I was blessed to be on the bottom end. I was running newspapers and reporting, I guess you call it reporting. I was writing articles, proofing stuff or whatever. When my dad helped got the thing started in Vegas, a group of guys got together, Billy Bones, several big name guys actually said, hey, listen, there's a need for all these folks.
How about that? Billy Bones right there.
Gosh, man, look at that.
Yeah.
Man, if my mom was watching this, she would jump out of her seat. Right
what are the
now.
chances of me having a picture of Billy Bones?
You the man. That's all there. That's all I can say. You the man. So, but that's how it all got started. You know, that group wanted to help folks getting in the barbecue world some way, somehow, and they just formed up and said, well, hey, let's have a conference. And man, I mean, it really started as a conference, but then they got into the expo part of it. And at one time they had 140 something businesses come to exhibit their goods. And of course, you know, that was before the internet got started and all that. Things have changed a whole bunch since then, but that's where it all kicked off at. And you know, we're still the same thing, man. All we want to do is help grow the barbecue industry by helping anybody who's getting involved, whether it's in the backyard all the way up to the professional side of it.
So for the folks who are in the business of barbecue in whatever fashion that might be, maybe they're on the fence about going. Maybe they've been in years past and they didn't feel that there was enough of a payoff for whatever reason, but they're on the fence now in February. We got 6 weeks until this thing happens or so. What's on the agenda next month? Let's get them over the hurdle here and get them to commit.
Oh, mercy, man. So there's a little something for everything, you know. The general sessions, you know, one thing we're doing a little different, you know, we've always done the Meet the Masters. Yeah. And you know, you've been to a couple of those conferences. So we do the Meet the Masters thing. One thing we're going to do is tee off of that and actually have like a one-on-one, almost like I don't know if you call it a barbecue speed dating type deal, but we'll have, you know, those big name guys who's been there and done that, been around the block. We're going to set them out in tables, line everybody up, and give everybody 5-10 minutes to pick their brains and talk to those guys and expand their networks while expanding their maybe some of their knowledge base or whatever. But so that'll be a little different. And it doesn't matter, you know, the competition guys, if you want to talk competition, go find you a competition guy. Tuffy Stone, he'll be there, be doing one of our master classes. You know, if you're looking to have a fun time, the Wednesday night deal, we're calling it a firefight. It's almost like a culinary fight club type event where we've got some competitors, but they're giving up their time and showcasing their products. We're trying to use some individuals who have small brand products, rub sauces, or maybe starting, you know, fresh that way, and letting them showcase their products out to the public as samples, and then they'll make turn-ins to go to some of these guys up. And Tuffy's agreed to judge. Famous Dave will be one of our judges up there, hopefully. I think Brooke Orson Lewis. It's hard not to call her Brooke O. I know she's married and got kids running around now, but some of those guys, but there'll be those guys who have been there and done that. And that's why you would want to, if you were on the fence, that makes all the difference in the world, because you don't actually just see them from a distance like you do at a contest or whatever. You actually get to go up, shake hands, trade business cards, and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, tell your story. And I guarantee you get something out of it.
So that's for the folks that are in the business of barbecue, let's say it that way. But what about for the folks who aren't in the business? They're just fans of the industry. They're fans of a Tuffy Stone or a Brick Orson or a Brad Orson or you name it, somebody that's going to be on the roster in February. Backyard Warriors, I think, is the best way to describe it. Is this something that is fan-friendly as well? And if so, is it through the same time as the tradespeople would be there, or is at a different point during the time?
Well, we've kind of tried to make a mix of the different events as far as sessions that we have. The educational sessions, I think there's 12, 14 of them planned now. Those will run Tuesday and Wednesday through the day. Lunch, we'll do the Meet the Masters thing at lunch. But Wednesday night will be the fun time with the welcome reception. Friday evening, we'll have the Rhinestone Cowboy Cook-Off. We'll be back. It's always fun to burn a steak, right? And then Saturdays when the master classes will be happening. But also at that time, we'll have a double SCA event happening outside. We'll have the thing I'm looking forward to of all this. During that SCA event, we're having an Anything Florida ancillary event. So I can't imagine what
Gator,
some of those turn-ins.
Iguana, pythons, all the stuff that I see on television that you hear about running around in the Everglades or what, or falling out of trees. Is it the iguanas that fall out of trees when it gets too cold because they pass out?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Oh, my goodness.
But yeah, so I'm excited to see some of those things. I know Craig Carter is actually going to be there helping us with the Wednesday night welcome reception. But we're going to try to make sure we turn him loose before Saturday comes, because he is the ancillary guru. And there's several of them there in that steak world that can do ancillaries like nobody's business. So I'm excited to see some of those turn-ins on Saturday there for sure. But
so that
would be those events for those backyard guys for sure.
So funnel in at some point on the 15th. There's the reception there. There was a bus tour or something going on as well that you might be able to take part in. Do you have an agenda set for that as well?
Absolutely, man. We get the opportunity to go to a place down there called Pig Floyd's. Yeah, and it is a itty bitty joint, man, but it is fantastic. We went on a couple site visits and tried out a couple different places. But you can't go to Florida without going to Sonny's Barbecue.
Yeah.
And so we'll definitely stop in there. And one of the growing chains down there in the Southeast now, it originally started there out of Jacksonville, Florida, is Four Rivers. And so those are the three places that we'll go and visit, and excited about going to those places and seeing how they do things different now. Sonny's has been around since '68, and man, I've always loved the sliced pork sandwiches stuff, but man, their stuff now is it's incredible. The way they totally changed their operation, but I'm excited for people to go in and see that and try that for sure.
All right, so make sure that you're either getting in the day before, the 14th, the Lover's Day of Valentine's Day. Nothing says love like the NBBQA annual conference, of course. So you can take part all day on the 15th, or get in there on the 15th at some point so you can take full advantage of all the other things you're going to go on through the course of the week and weekend. And if you have any questions, go to the website, NBBQA.org. You can register there, obviously. You can see where the lodging is and all that fun stuff. And I guess the unique thing, the last time I was at one, we were at a off-site hotel, and then you had to get ushered over to the stockyards or whatever they were called over there in Fort Worth. This is all encompassing your one place for everything, right?
That's exactly right. At the Wyndham Resort there, and there's a couple different Wyndham properties. This is a very barbecue friendly property for sure. It's a little bit older place, and they actually closed down during COVID and remodeled, did like a $7-8 million remodel in the conference centers and such as that. But they got a huge outdoor area. We plan to put up a big tent there, and as far as the steak cook-off on the other, just right outside the conference center, all those guys will be huddled up right there and looking for a big time for sure. So it's definitely barbecue friendly and set up for us to be right there on the property and do what we want to do.
Okay, hopefully we've put some people that were flirting on the hurdle to get over that thing and sign up. We'll see how it goes, and we'll look for a full report after the thing takes place there in mid-February. Always appreciate the time, and thanks for coming on tonight.
Hey, man, I always thank you, and looking forward to a smoking 23 for sure, brother.
No doubt. There he is, Kell Phelps, right there, the managing partner at NBBQA. NBBQA.org is the website if you want to go ahead and sign up for the annual conference, February 15th. Through the 18th, make your travel arrangements as necessary. What do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they're fuel efficient, of course. We love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats. We love that they're fuel miserly. We also love that they can get rip-roaring hot for high-temperature grilling of steaks and other thin cuts. But what's missing in the everyday lineup of ceramic cookers? The ability to do true two-zone cooking. Two-zone cooking is very important to both professional and backyard cooks alike. It's the best way to manage a fire and cook with confidence. However, getting a two-zone fire in a round ceramic cooker isn't very realistic. Why? Because it's round. Enter Primo Grill and the game-changing oval design. The shape gives you the ability to execute a two-zone setup. It also gives you the other ceramic grill benefits as well. When you break it down, there's more than 60 different ways to configure the Primo cooker. Only limited by your culinary imagination. And they have the accessories, of course, the Primo Grill rotisserie, the Primo Grill pizza accessory, and more. Only sold through dealers. Find one near you by visiting primogrill.com. Once you find it, visit the dealer, touch and feel all the oval sizes, and you're off and running. Here's the bottom line. Best ceramics in the biz? Yes. Patented technology, true two-zone cooking capabilities, and multiple sizes. And again, sold through dealers only. Primogrill.com. For a dealer near you, that's primogrill.com. Proud sponsor of this show, and happy to have them on again here in 2023. We're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Kell Phelps from the National Barbecue and Grilling Association, also the owner over at the Barbecue News, for coming on last segment, talking all about that. Question coming in from Facebook, John Merriman. How do I get my grilling accessory on your show? JalapeñoJohns.com. If you're looking to advertise, John, shoot me an email, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. I will give you the insanely high prices. You will give me your money, and success will ensue, of course. Seriously, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. If you're looking to advertise, we have 2 spots open. If you are willing and ready to go, you tell me. Anyway, National Barbecue and Grilling Association, February 15th through the 18th. So if you're looking to get down on that, you have another few weeks to go ahead and get registered on that, so don't sleep on it. If you want to do it, just get it done. You're booked. You're ready to go. And then you can be in the, hopefully, warm weather in Orlando, Florida, come February 15th. You get to hobnob with a bunch of great live fire celebrities and learn a whole bunch from people that are doing it successfully. Absolutely. All right, we are heading to the second hour where you will find Sam the Cooking Guy. You are listening and watching the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This is Doug Scheiding, the Rogue Cookers, Texas embedded correspondent. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate cookies or wiener.
Oh, listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It's the Barbecue Central show. We talk about barbecue and grilling related items here on this show of only the highest importance. If you missed the first hour, don't worry about it. We're recording for podcast posterity and ease of consumption. You can find the first hour hitting your podcast feed at some point early tomorrow morning. Second hour will be hitting early on Thursday, and I'll tell you about Friday here in just 1 second. As you know by now, the Barbecue Central show originating from
Palm City, USA, Cleveland.
Still to come on the show this evening, Sam the Cooking Guy for his first visit here in 2023. We say good evening to those of you watching this show tonight through one of our streaming platforms, video-wise, Facebook or Twitch /BBQ Central Show. You can also watch over on YouTube /RD Rempe. We also say good evening to the folks using our audio streaming platform this evening called Clubhouse. So if you would rather hear us and not watch us, Clubhouse is the way to do that. And let's go ahead and review the YouTube poll. Currently, 86% of you are saying hell to the na-na. You are not.
Andrew, you are
not going to do the butter candle trend on social media. Really? You really not? You've seen the incredible amount of views, the traction that it gains when your friend or your neighbor decides they're going to pull out their phone and record a video of them making the butter candle. But 86% of you right now are holding firm that you are not going to do the butter candle trend that is sitting on a bunch of the social medias right now, the TikToks and the Instagrams, all that fun stuff. By the way, you can follow me on all of those social medias at BBQ Central Show. Guy the Cooking Sam weighing in. I like how Greg is from Northwest Virginia and pretends not to know who Morgan Wallen is. Is Northwest Virginia an Ohio comment? Is that a backhanded blast? Because we all know that West Virginia is no place for me. No offense.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday, if you can believe it. Episode 263. Wowee. Taking you back to January 7th, 2014, and once again making an appearance, me, all me. That's right. It's me. This time, I was doing a show from the basement of what was then my freshly built / finished home in the majestic, dare I say, booming metropolis of Wickliffe, Ohio. You might recall as I had mentioned in subsequent weeks, there was a 7 to 8 week run in between homes, the Euclid home and the Wickless home finishing, where I did the show from somebody else's basement. You would know them as the Lavons of the Wycliffe Lavons, Ed and Amy. You heard that a few weeks ago in a previous Best Moments as well. But this one was from the new home in the new basement. And somehow I was able to do a show where I shoehorn my joy of being back in the friendly confines of my new home into murdering of a man down in Jacksonville, Florida. That's right. Somehow I'm able to tell you what a great time I'm having in my new basement. Oh, by the way, somebody in Jacksonville, Florida, around that time in 2014 was murdered. Can I get a hell yeah?
Give me a hell yeah!
I did it. I will tell you, however, the reason for his ultimate demise, and I'm not going to blow it for you, but the reason for his ultimate demise is something that is, let's say, not uncommon in barbecue and grilling circles. In fact, I would say some people on social media look for this kind of thing to go in on whenever they have a chance. So be sure you are subbed up to the podcast feed so you don't miss out on this one, because you don't want to miss out on it. And don't forget, if you ever want to hear a guest or segment that you feel has been lost in the archives, which are now far-reaching and deep in the annals of the archives, email John, let him know what you'd like to hear, Jon at thebbqcentralshow.com, and he'll do his best to meet your expectation. Here's a YouTube comment about the Noah Glanville segment, or as I mentioned it in the show open, a competing thought or a competing comment from the praise of Noah's origin story from last week. This one coming in from Mike W9458, because I continually love YouTube, and that's sarcastic. I really enjoy the show. I listen all the time, and I'll continue to listen. I think you were out of line by putting Noah on the spot, asking about his worst experiences in the military. I don't think it's right to ask veterans and first responders to share those memories unless you agree beforehand. If you're friends, ask away from the mic. I appreciate Noah sharing, but this was not the place for it. Again, still a fan, but wanted to pass that advice on. Please consider it. Thank you. Mike, thank you for the comment, and I do want to point this out. If you are in a like mind of Mike W., but you just didn't have the testicular fortitude to write in and take me to task on that, you should know this. I do have a very deep relationship with Noah Glanville. Did I outline everything that we were going to talk about? No. I think there's a big distinction to make here on a number of fronts, but two really big fronts. Number one is, I didn't ask Noah, how many people did you kill in war? I didn't ask that.
Get that big stuff out of here.
That's an easy jump to make, while what we were talking about had to do with war, had to do with his mindset while he was in it, and what he's had to deal with since he's been back from it. But never once did I say, how many people did you kill? I'm not asking anybody that. Much like I would never ask anybody, how much money is in your bank account? I'm not going to ask a veteran, how many people did you kill? Like, that's a no line, right? Secondly, Noah has told me on any number of occasions that he is an open book. Ask him any question. And this goes for any guest that comes on my show. If I ask you a question that you think is out of line, that you don't want to answer, that you quite frankly think is horseshit, you have every right to deny an answer or tell me I'm out of line or take me to task or say that's unfair. I welcome it. Sometimes the line not to cross isn't definitive enough. However, in this instance, I know Noah is an open book. He claims all the time, just ask me whatever you want. He'll make a decision on if he wants to answer it. And I know for a fact from having this discussion with Noah many times off the air. He hopes that more people like me, not in the military, not having war experience, or if you were in the military but didn't have war experience, to go talk to the veterans that saw war, that were in that time, and ask them, what was your experience like? What are you dealing with? Having people talk about it. He would much rather have somebody ask him about his experience and then have that person who's being asked to decide not to answer it for whatever reason. And their reason is right, by the way, if they don't want to. But he would much rather be given the opportunity to talk about it and talk about whatever emotional struggles he has or PTSD than consider what is the extreme alternative to not doing any of that, which is what? Committing suicide. And how many veterans are out there every day at least teetering on the edge of saying enough is enough. I've suffered enough. I can't get over this. There's no way out. If they're not talking about it with somebody, if somebody's not asking them about it, then that might be the only viable alternative that they're thinking of. And Noah doesn't want that. I certainly don't want that. And that's why I asked him about it. Because if he can share what he was thinking, maybe that encourages somebody in a similar situation who's not that open to go, this guy has done it. He's lived it. He's been in theater as I have. This is going to inspire me to figure out a different way than the way I was thinking I was going anyway. If I can do that for even one person, if Noah can do that for even one person, then that origin story and that the context of that origin story was a complete success. But know this, I'm not going to ask the stupid question. I'm going to ask the well-reasoned, well-thought-out, and considerate question. And then if we answer it from there, fine. If I'm denied, fine, we'll move on. Thank you. And I appreciate you listening and continuing to listen, Mike W. Sam the Cooking Guy is ready to rock. I am here to talk to you about week 26 of the Do Wellness David Leans program, davidleans.com/BBQ to sign up. Forget it. The new year is here, folks. There's nothing else that matters except getting into your best shape, whatever that means to you. Stop being fat. Look, I'm not fat shaming you. I'm just saying that if you have continued month after month to say, hey, there's something I gotta do. I don't know what to do, but I know I gotta do something. Just saying to myself, I hope I do something different, or I want to do something different, but you don't know where to go from here. I hear you. I mean, I wasn't a big fat ass, but I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be. So I took the bull by the horns. I got in touch with our pal, David McDowell from David Leans, the Do Wellness program, and he put a whole thing together for me. Met me where I was at, told him what I had at home, told him what I was looking to do initially, where I wanted to get weeks from now, and we're continually in conversation. At a minimum, 2 or 3 times a week, so he is around, as he says. Now, some coaches are charging you up to $500 a month for a canned diet plan, 1 to 2 check-ins per month. Forget it. Partnering with David allows you access to a resource who's available effectively 24/7. $200 a month. Come on. What are we talking about here? Be held accountable. Maybe that's all you need. A little bit of a rah-rah, a little bit of accountability, and away you go. The website, davidleans.com/BBQ. That's davidleans.com/BBQ. And let him know the Barbecue Central show sent you. You're ready to rock. We're back with Sam the Cooking Guy right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central show.
Welcome back. This portion of the show, aptly brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 3 sizes, a host of accessories to complete that pit barrel cooking experience. Whether you're a beginner or professional, this is definitely a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central Show sent you. Sean Reed from YouTube weighing in. Can never get this message out enough for any PTSD sufferer. Sean, thank you for listening as always and watching, because you're watching, of course. My next guest is a YouTube cooking sensation with over 3.44 million YouTube subscribers, not to mention the bevy of Emmys, a Barbecue Central Show guest, Hall of Famer, and one of my best pals in life, both for food and for friendship, but not yours, and that's why you are jealous of me. It's Sam, the cooking guy. Hey, Sam. Happy New Year.
What's up, buddy? How are you, man?
I am absolutely jazzed to have you back on the show as we lead off 2023. Probably nobody more interesting for me to have as we turn a page from one year to the next.
Turn a page. Come on.
By the way, here's a instant chat coming in from Smoke and Joe's Pit Barbecue. Sam's mic works 99% of the time. Meathead's mic doesn't work 99% of the time.
Wait, I was listening last week, and there were problems all over the board, man. Yep. I do not know what was going on, but everybody was going down in flames.
What needs to be understood is this. Here's what needs to be understood.
Go ahead.
I have the embedded correspondence on. By the way, for anybody listening, this is totally not on the agenda, but this is how the segments run in case you're just tuning in for the show and you think we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of food stuff. That may or may not happen over the next segment and a half, 2 segments, but we're already off the rails, which is kind of common or commonplace for these kind of segments. Anyway, we have the embedded correspondence segment going on. For how long has this never been an issue? And then all of a sudden, at the end of the year, 2022 rapidly coming to a close, and not one, but 2 have mic issues. And to compound the issue, they can hear themselves through their mics, both Rusty and Doug. The problem is this. When the audio's coming back to me, which is the only audio that counts, I'm getting the computer mic, which is horrible.
Can I suggest a change in name for them?
Yes.
Not to embedded correspondence. How about dumbbedded?
The dumbbedded correspondence.
Dumbbedded, because those 2 were mental cases last week.
Yes.
I mean, I could hear as I listened back what was going on, and they're like, no, my mic's on. I can do this. I can hear. It doesn't matter what they think. It only matters what the master thinks.
Right. If the audio isn't coming to me pristine, then there is obviously a glitch somewhere. Now, look, you can go back through the course of the show as I have been talking about the origin story of Noah Glanville from last week. If you recall, abruptly cut off, like right at the tail end. I don't have any idea why that happened. That was bizarre. We talked later. But
I blame it on Doug and Rusty.
It was obviously Doug and Rusty. We're in agreement once again. In 2023, we're harmonious.
You should have come into this segment with me after you talked about Pit Barrel, showing the picture that I sent you of the duck that I was working on for my next book that I had just made on a Pit Barrel cooker.
You love that Pit Barrel cooker.
If you could pull it up, I do love it. It works. I don't understand how it works. I don't understand how there's a lot of heat at the bottom. You can hang something in it, and the protein at the bottom doesn't burn the F up before the shit at the top cooks. But it doesn't. It's amazing. Can you show that picture of the duck? No, you can't.
Now you know I can. Just give me 1 second. I got to find the right.
So I'm working on book number 6. It's a grilling book that will come out in 2024. And I sent my boy Greg, who, as he said, as he led into this, that we have a legitimate relationship with each other, and you don't.
That sounds weird.
And I sent him this because I had just listened to his interview with Noah, and then I said, "Oh, fitting." I was just listening to this, and then I just cooked this duck on his pit barrel. She can't find the picture. You throw my shit out, man. Well, how can you
No,
not?
how dare you? Just takes me a
Look how
second.
beautiful that is.
It's incredible.
Look how beautiful that is.
Look at the golden color here.
Yeah.
So I'm not I mean, no surprise to anybody that listens. I'm not a duck connoisseur by any stretch of the imagination. However, unlike a lot of other things that I show my ass on, I have had duck before, but it was oh crap. I'm going to say Maillard duck, but it's not. It's a Canadian eating duck.
Mallard.
No. It's not mallard. I'm not going to forget.
Maillard is what happens when you cook things.
That's the browning of meat. Somebody's going to know what the duck char, I think, was the name of it. But somebody in the instant chat, tell me what kind of duck I'm thinking about. But I've had that.
Yes. Let me just interrupt and say, before you say, I'm not a duck. What did you say? I'm not a duck expert.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you're an expert. It just matters that you try things. I say it all the time on
Moulard duck. That's what it is. Moulard.
I say it. Okay, enough with you. I say it all the time on my YouTube channel. Don't eat the same thing all the time. Try new things. You don't want to be your last day on this planet and eat something that you've never had before and then be like, holy shit, I've missed that my whole life. That's what I think needs to happen. I think you need to try things. Get out of your comfort zone. It's the only way that we grow as people. So, all right, just do it.
So how did you like the duck out of the pit barrel? Did it render properly, do you think?
I'm still working on it. I mean, you work on stuff for a book and you make it once, and if it's amazing and you love it, and I'm not one of these people that tries it on a whole bunch of other people. If I take a bite and I'm like, oh, holy F, this is fantastic. I love this. It's good. There's a couple things about that version of it that went a little bit beyond that picture that you just showed that I was not too happy with. So I'm now like reworking it. Now I feel like I'm getting into some freaking effing vortex, and I don't know that I'll get out of this duck vortex. But the chapter that is in is called Chicken and One Duck. Because I'm not going to do like 20 duck recipes in a book because most people are like you. I've had duck. I don't know if I'm in love with duck. So one good duck recipe, I want to encourage people to try something different. But so
is duck readily available?
Oh, if have you been to a Costco business center?
No.
Business center.
Sorry.
You probably have them in Cleveland. So there's regular Costco that's for civilians. If you have a Costco card, you can also go to the Costco Business Center, and it would be a place that you would go if you were, if you had like a corner store and you bought a whole bunch of candy to have boxes out, and then people would get. If you wanted paper for your printers in a certain quantity, that kind of thing. It's sort of quantity things that are generally larger than Costco, but certain things. Anyway, they don't have reg duck at a regular Costco, but they have these gorgeous, they're frozen, but halal ducks, and they're really good. They're plump, they're juicy, they're fantastic. Put them on the Noah's pit barrel for about 3.5 hours till they got 180 degrees, and insanely delicious. Look, if you like chicken, just imagine chicken, but a little bit more romantic, a little bit more exciting, a little different. Try different things. I cannot stress that enough.
This shouldn't be shocking coming in from the instant chat from somebody called Chicken Fried Barbecue. You should chicken fry a duck. Ever thought about that? Is that going to be in a video upcoming potentially?
You know what? I don't know if it won't be, but I sent you a picture. We dry aged a chicken for 2 weeks. That episode hasn't aired yet. We dry aged a chicken for 2 weeks, and then we deep fried it. And I'm telling you, to a man, me, Max, Chance, all said, it was easily the most delicious chicken we've ever had. I didn't even brine it. I was so excited to get these chickens into the dry ager. I totally forgot to even brine them, which I would have dry brined them. and I forgot. They were unfucking believable. Oh, can I say fucking on your show?
We're on the internet. There's porno on the internet.
Good, just making sure. They were unfucking believable. Well, I know I say that only because I just, but
do you remember the first time you were on the show, Sam?
You cut out. No.
You don't remember the first time, and then I sent you that highlight of all the F-bombs you dropped on the first time you were on the show?
I'm sorry. Yes. Now that brings it back. But wait a second. So why do you cut out what's his face saying, we'll do it live. Well, fucking do it live, whatever that is. Why do you cut the F out if you can?
Well, for you talking about this thing?
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Yes. He says, fuck it. We'll do it live. Why do you cut that out?
I just needed it quicker. It just adds a little bit. Like that's just
is that what it is?
Good enough. That's a good pace, but it's just taking it. Yeah, of course.
You don't think the fuck it adds to it?
Not enough to keep in.
Wait, stop. Ladies and gentlemen, did you notice that silence?
I was evaluating. I'm listening into my head.
Really thinking, wondering, wait, maybe I should have left the fucking.
No. The do it live, the way I have it, it's just the right time, and I'm neither here nor there on the fuck. It doesn't seem to bring anything more or less. The way I have it is perfect. That's why it's on there.
It does because of who he is, because of how he comes across. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Right. What else?
You know what's interesting to me? Two things. First, a really quick thing. We've never met in person.
Never.
And I every so often we talk about that. I think if you listen, if you just tune, if this is the first time you're listening, watching, or on
however you're doing it.
Stupid thing. What is that thing called that I hate?
Clubhouse?
Clubhouse, yeah. If you're the 2 or 18 people that are on that can never get through, or you're watching or you're listening, you would think that we were buddies that went way back and spent time together. We've never met. Never.
We are buddies that go way back. 10 years, 12 years, maybe.
That's the point. We've never met.
I know, but isn't that the beauty of where technology is today? Even back when you were doing the Sam Livecast, and I saw the thing that inspired me to even communicate with you was you were talking to Max and Lynn at the time. For the folks that are true fans will know those names. Of course, Max still with you, but not Lynn anymore. You were talking to them. They were in a completely different room. You're out in the kitchen. You're doing part talk show, part cooking show, and you had the news anchor IFB in your ear.
Yes,
and I saw you take it out one time, and I was like, wow, here's a guy that might be kind of normal like me. I had no idea what a star you were at that point, but I said, here's a guy who might be normal like me, and he's got this really neat thing. How the hell does he get one of those? And I wrote in, and you read the question right on the air. You gave the answer. I immediately went to whoever the hell it was and bought one for myself, and that was it. Like, that was my introduction to you, and then I had you on the show, and then you had me on your show, and it's been kismet ever since. But that was the original hook, was me asking you about your IFB.
But here's my point. Yes, the internet and the technology today brings people close together. But I do think that we act, and I'm not saying that we're like this because of technology. I think we're like this because we just have we have a thing,
a rapport.
From the beginning, we have a rapport together that I really like. But let's just put that aside for a second. I have a question here that I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Sometime back in 2022, that was a year ago. Whatever, you had a conversation with your embedded what do we call them? The dumbspondent.
Embedded dumbspondents.
The embedded dumbspondents. Only 2 of them. You were talking about one of your questions to them was, will Jeremy, what's Andrus?
Yeah. Will
Jeremy Andrus, the CEO of Traeger, still be the CEO at the end of the year? Was one of your 100% assurity questions?
Yes.
And I don't remember what anybody else said. I remember what you said. Absolutely not.
Yes. Guess what?
How did the end? How did 2022 end for Jeremy Andrus?
It ended with him as being CEO of Traeger Grills. 100%.
There you go.
How did it work out for me?
Show you up.
Not too good.
Well, no, you're still
Look,
your shit's good. It's just you were just wrong on that one.
We can go back through some of my surety picks through the year and see where I doubled or tripled down and was completely wrong. For instance, I think we might have brought Jeremy's CEO status up a couple different times through the year. I doubled down every time that he was not going to be there. But through business research and business lookings and stock prices and things that just made sense to me on why that could potentially happen. Plus, I'm not going to back off after I went ahead and put it out there for the first. And then secondly was the Green Mountain Grill thing where everybody else said that they would remain in business. I said that they were going to be out of business by the summertime. Once again, 100% wrong. I own it. I'm not very smart.
Maybe that's a thing you should do. Maybe you should go through your 100% of surety picks and just rank and see who came out on top.
That might be a good idea. Well, what we should do is start keeping track this year, and at the end of the year, we'll see who's more right or who not. Yeah,
maybe you should do that.
We don't like to look back.
See who's right, and then somebody gets a prize. I got everybody put some money into the pot, and the guy at the top
cash prize
gets the pot.
All right.
How's
that? We can give them a bottle of Hardcore Carnivore Black for your rubbing pleasure. It's got activated charcoal in there.
Yeah,
it's
thank
delicious.
you. Yeah, by the way, can we talk about this for a second? I said to you something about I'm working on the cookbook and something about a charcoal, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Do you remember your words?
Not specifically, but I think it was something along the lines like activated charcoal and rub is stupid or something along those lines.
No.
What was it?
No.
It obviously seared.
Overplayed.
100%. I'm right.
What a dick.
I'm right.
How is it overplayed?
Because everybody has one now. Overplayed.
Everybody. No, that is not true.
Oh, no?
You go listen, and you maybe in your world, but in my regular civilian world, you go
this
to
is the world I cover. How can I live in somebody else's world? This is my world.
Listen, you take yourself out of that little queen's throne that you find yourself in every week,
Kings,
and come down to where the regular civilians live like me. No, none of my friends know what the hell activated charcoal rub is. Exactly. Do your little queen wave and be off with yourself.
Overplayed, Sam. Overplayed. Next question, please.
By the way, I'm Canadian.
King in the castle. King in the castle.
Listen, I'm Canadian, and so I can do this until tomorrow.
What happens tomorrow?
I become an American.
You naturalize?
That's right.
Really?
A barbecue
Holy
central
crap.
show exclusive news update.
With 50 seconds left in this segment, Greg Ramper reporting from the breaking news desk here in Cleveland, Ohio, the city that breaks the most live fire breaking news across the nation. Nay, the globe.
The globe.
In San Diego, California, Sam, the cooking guy, has broken that he will renounce his citizenship and patronage to Canada and become wholly U.S. citizen. Thank God.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You just said it. I'll run the tape back.
No, I didn't. All I said was I become an American tomorrow.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Why now?
Well, I took the citizenship test about 4 months ago.
How many times did you fail?
I took it once. I passed. And she said, all right, so now you go upstairs to the 5th floor.
Yes.
You do the oath, you're an American. Except I was going back to Canada a week later. And when you do the oath, you have to turn in your green card. In my case, a green card. And had I turned it in and then went to Canada, coming back would have been very difficult. So I told her that, and she said, this is the inspector, the person, I don't know what her title was. She was very cool, though. And she goes, okay, so I'll just, this was in August. She goes, I'll put you down for the end of August once you're back to do the oath, and then you become an American. I go, great. That never happened. I couldn't get it scheduled. And it was just a nightmare. And finally, now tomorrow's my day. So 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And it's not the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
It's the Pledge of Oath, which is different.
You want to practice?
No.
You sure?
I'll do it next month if you want me to.
I have some.
I don't want to do it because I'm a Canadian. Still.
I have some patriotic music to play underneath you if you want to go ahead and start it. Ready?
Go
at
ahead.
your
I
ready.
can't do it. I don't have it. That is porn music, bro. That is not what they're going to be playing tomorrow when I'm there.
Sam, the cooking guy, promised to be a faithful American. Oh, yeah.
I will not be saying that to this music.
I'm going to be
if they play that music, I'll be very surprised.
I'm going to be deeply American.
It's not happening.
It's going to be so good.
Oh, that is not happening. No, that is not happening.
All right. Sam, please take a moment to gather yourself as I step away just for a moment and talk about our good friends over at Green Mountain Grills, who, once again, I was completely wrong in 2022. That's one thing we know I was wrong about, and I'm ashamed. Sorry, Jason. However, the fact remains that you still have two different lines to choose from, a choice line or a prime line. If you're somebody that likes to save some money, the choice line is right for you. If you're somebody that likes to spend a little extra money because you want two internal meat probes, you want Wi-Fi connectivity, you want an app that you can download to your phone and turn the grill on and off. You can adjust temperature up or down. You can make custom cook cycles. You can do everything with this app, all that you want, without ever having to leave the comfort of your Shaw's lounge, as long as you have help to bring the food to the cooker and then once again out of the cooker once it's done. You also get some headlamps in the main cooking chamber, a little bit more of a robust build on that prime line chassis over the choice, but still both great cookers. The Peak and the Ledge are in the prime line, and the choice is only one to choose from. The good news is that my favorite accessory, the pizza oven insert, is available for both the choice and the prime line sizes. If you like to be a little bit more mobile, you can get the Trek. You can take it to tailgates of football games or the impending baseball season. Who knows what you're up to, but as long as you are mobile, the Trek can go with you. It plugs into the receptacles in your car, 12-volt receptacles that you might have. It was really the birthplace of 12-volt technology for all Green Mountain Grills now. Only sold through dealers. Find one near you, and then see the choice, see the prime in person, pick the one that's best for you, get educated on how it works. Success once you get home. Green Mountain Grills, longtime sponsor of this show. Find a dealer near you by going to greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com, and we are back with more Sam the Cooking Guy right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we are back. And Sam the Cooking Guy is back with us as well. TheCookingGuy.com, his website. You can also check out really cool knives and shirts and other stuff at shopstcg.com. I got to tell you, I'm playing around with the 10.5-inch Statement chef's knife, or as well we call it in the Rempe household now, the hatchet. I'm sorry, not the hatchet. That would be doing it a disservice. The machete. The machete. And
it might be doing it a disservice unless you were a murderer, maybe then.
So we call it the machete. But maybe this isn't oddly enough to you, but I find, so I got the 10.5-inch Statement chef's knife, but then you also included the 5.5-inch Nikiri knife, which is the little brother or little sister. Sentoku, right.
That's okay.
I didn't know. I mean, it was cute. It's substantially smaller than most of the other knives from Sam the Cooking Guy that I have in my arsenal. And by the way, they all cook knives. As I was asking Malcom Reed, it's probably a topic that we don't cover nearly as much as we should here on the show. Having a great set of knives is really imperative to anybody that's in the barbecue industry or the grilling industry, especially when it comes to prep. Obviously, cutting for service, you want to have something that is sharp and safe, but feels good. But I don't know if we ever even talk about how to go through finding a great knife for you, because it's very personal. One size doesn't fit all. Maybe in
100%.
February we can talk a little bit more in depth on that. All a long way for me to go to say, hey, the 5.5 Sentoku was cute, but I didn't know if I was going to really get after it. And after the last week of having it in the knife drawer, I am going to that thing more and more. It might grow to be the second favorite knife. Nothing's going to usurp the 8-inch chef's knife. That thing is easily my favorite knife ever. Very versatile, fits great in the hand, does everything I ever needed to. But the 5.5 Sentoku is really starting to come up for many of the other jobs otherwise.
Listen, I say this all the time. Here's what matters with a knife. Of course, it has to be sharp. That's a given. You can't get around it. It has to be sharp. A sharp knife will be your best friend in the kitchen. But it needs to be a knife that fits your hand, that you're comfortable with. I said this yesterday or today in front of the camera. I was at a cookware store a bunch of years ago, and I heard a saleswoman selling knives to a female patron, and the woman that was buying the knives was tiny, 5'2", 5'3", something like that. And the salesperson said, "Here's what you have to have," and she's listing a bunch of knives, and she gets to like a 9 or 10-inch chef's knife. You must have this. And I thought to myself, that's just fucking madness. She's not telling her she needs a 9 or 10-inch chef's knife because she needs it. She's telling her she needs that because she wants the commission. A knife you will use will be one that fits in your hand. A woman that was 5'1", 2 or 3, whatever it was, is going to have smaller hands, and a 8, 9, or 10-inch chef's knife is going to be probably bigger than most people that size will be comfortable with. If it fits in your hand and you're comfortable with it, that's a knife for you. If it's a big ass knife that feels uncomfortable, just because some clerk tells you should have that, don't fucking buy it. Don't. My wife does not like the larger knives. She's comfortable with the smaller ones. She loves the 4.5-inch paring knife. She loves the 5.5-inch Sentoku. That's what she goes to all the time. But listen, if I'm cutting a turkey or breaking that or cutting a roast or something, I want a big ass knife. That 10.5-inch that I sent you, that's the one that I want to use for that kind of stuff. But listen, just be comfortable with it. It's a knife. It's sharp. It's dangerous. Don't do something stupid. Buy something that feels okay in your hand. Don't let somebody tell you that you have to have something this big because they want the commission, because that's just effed up.
Last week also, during the Embedded Correspondence segment, there was something you wanted to take me to task on, which was me asking the fellas, the
Go ahead.
dumbspondents, and then also John, the Embedded Correspondent, if they thought it was true or not that pellet cookers provide they don't have a overwhelming smoke profile to them. And you called me whenever you were listening to it, and you said, look,
2 seconds after I heard you say those stupid words.
Yeah. You said smoke profile is completely wrong.
It's completely wrong.
It is?
What's the smoke profile of those pellets? Oh, they're sweet, they're bitter, they're extra smoky, they're spicy. Smoke profile doesn't say that it's a shit ton of smoke in your face, and that's what you were going for. Am I right?
Yeah, that the traditional knock against pellet cookers is it's a light smoke versus a heavy smoke.
Yeah.
And that you don't think that
I get.
that's the same thing?
If you had said that, that's okay. But what's the smoke profile? No. Smoke profile, and look, I'm not going to belabor the point. The fact that at least for the next, I don't know, for 12 hours or something, I still speak the Queen's English. Listen, no. Smoke profile is not the amount of smoke on it. It would be the general nature of that smoke.
All right. Well, I'm going to put it out to the folks on Instant Chat right now. Was smoke profile the incorrect use of the American English, not the Queen's English? By the way, as we look at the YouTube chat question this evening, I don't know if you were up to speed on what the YouTube chat question is this evening tonight, but are you going to do the butter candle trend on social media right now? 80% of the folks are saying hell no, they won't. 20% now are weighing in saying that they absolutely will do the butter candle trend that, as 2023 turned, shot off like a rocket to space. Are you familiar with the butter candle trend right now, Sam?
100%.
Yes. Are you going to do it?
As I am with the butter boards and all that kind of stuff. And I'm here to tell you that I am 100% absolutely not fucking going to do that. I have no interest in that. It's ridiculous.
Really? Wow.
It's ridiculous. 100%.
I might have. No, I would never. I don't do trends because I'm usually behind them and they've already shot. The only trend I've done. Wait. Remind me to come back to my trend. Hold on. Remind me to come back to trend. I think I've found this. By the way, hopefully this is the first time you were on the show.
You know, when we shot this and put it on YouTube.
Wow, that is totally not the right one. Well, I tried. I was digging through the break to try and find that F-bomb thing, but it didn't work out. I'll continue to do it. Maybe we'll.
I can't wait to hear it
again. Yeah, it's. You should have it somewhere.
Look, I do have potty mouth. I admit that, but
yeah, it was great. So
they're only words, right?
I typically don't follow trends, but in 2022, I started what I think was the trend of 2022, which was mayo as a binder on meat. For instance,
done it.
Turkey, on brisket, of course. Brisket was the main one where I caught a lot of traction. A prime rib, of course. And then, because I'm a complete dope on Christmas, what did I not do on my prime rib? I did not add a mayo binder to hold my rub. I look like a charlatan running around here hosting a show talking about I'm a trendsetter. I took that guy Dick Paste to task when he claimed that he was the mayo binder starter, but I beat him down like the bitch he is and showed him who the boss was. This was my trend. And then when it came to me to use it, it didn't even cross my mind, not even on my radar, to put mayo on that prime rib. I couldn't be more embarrassed.
Let me tell you something. Mayo on anything as a binder is one of the more genius moves ever.
Of course. Thank you for recognizing that.
It really is. I've done it.
I mean, after I introduced you to it.
It's making it I don't know if you did, but it's making an appearance in the next cookbook. It's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Wow.
Mayo makes everything better. It really does.
I don't know if we're keeping score here, Sam, but the most recent Sam the Cooking Guy cookbook, you shit all over my choripollo, and yet there's a recipe in there for choripollo. And what did we just learn? What did we just learn? You shit all over my mayo binder, and now my mayo binder is going to be in your next book.
Please.
I better get a co-author spot on this bitch.
Let's just go. There's no co-authoring for you. No, there's not. So tomorrow we will be shooting. By the way, I said that in my best Canadian accent ever.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
We'll be shooting. One of the videos we'll shoot will be for a San Jose style burrito.
Whoa.
Sent in by shit. Now I feel bad.
What makes it San Jose? Just because that's where it came from.
Just let me read the guy's name. Hold on, and you'll like this. Here we go.
I know who lives in San Jose. Joey Chaw's Chestnut, the biggest celebrity to come out of San Jose.
I can't find it. God damn it.
By the way, that's a fact.
So here's the deal. It's a burrito made out of chicken, chorizo, refried beans, and a cheese white sauce.
We call that Caso Blanco, where I come from.
Okay, great. There you go, Mr. Mexico. Thank you for that. Because nobody would have known nobody understood the cheese white sauce until you put it into proper.
Could be anything.
Spanish.
Could be anything.
But here's the point.
Oh.
I got that email from the guy going, hey, why don't you try your hand at this? And I was like, oh, holy shit, that sounds outstanding. So there's chicken and there's chorizo. So there's your chori pollo.
Yeah. See, it's showing up in many different places.
No, you didn't start it. Some restaurants, some fake Mexican restaurant that you go to started it.
I never said I started it. I mentioned it one time, and you laughed at me.
I have it as a flatbread on one of our restaurant menus, and it's delicious.
What's it called?
I can't remember. Some chori pollo, stupid thing.
That's right, chori pollo. And this song plays every time we say chori pollo going forward, forever and ever. Amen.
By the way, the people of Mexico are embarrassed by that song and by the name of that because
it's my party.
As I said, listen. As I said, no proper Mexican establishment has got that on their menu.
It's
only the pretend Mexican restaurants with super. I don't know.
I would love to see you start backpedaling at this point.
I'm not.
Now hold on a second.
Drinking Mexican beer.
Just sent this in. Smoking Joe is weighing in again. I'm loving Sam's watch. Fuck it. I have a man crush on Sam. There, I said it. All right, so let's blow it up. Now, I have to take you to task and say that is not what is the now traditional Sam watch timepiece. That's the old school Nixon 5130.
I like to change it up. It's actually the darker version of the 5130.
Oh, okay.
I have the silver version. This is the darker. I don't know what they call it, platinum. I don't know what to call this. This is darker
gunmetal.
The silver one. Gunmetal. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, buddy.
All right.
Thank you.
Very good. I was wondering what he was referencing, but I almost have that same watch, by the way, but I have just the stainless bracelet. I don't have the gunmetal.
But listen, let him have his man crush.
Hey, he's second in line behind me. Who's he kidding?
Do you have a man crush on anybody?
Yeah, you. Are you kidding?
No, not me. Take me out of it. Who is?
Oh, man crush.
Who I would have a man. Now I'm trying to think of who I'd have a man crush on.
Who do I have a man crush on?
Oh boy.
Right. Well, let's see.
I'll tell you next month. I can't think of who my man crush would be right now.
Man crush, like in food?
No, like in anything. Who do you see that you go? I like the guy's whole thing. Not in that sexual way.
No, I
just,
get it.
You know,
I get it.
You just you admire. You're a fan. You're a fan. Come on, who is it? Somebody you gotta like.
I don't know.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, but
Jeremy Renner. I don't know.
Ooh, thoughts and prayers to Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody like right off the top of my head that I have a man crush on. No.
A couple friends that you don't know that
I do.
Yes. Who?
He's not famous. But I have a man crush on a loyal Centralite who also happens to be a shared passionado of cigars from Minnesota, Jeff Andrizzi. Man crush with him. We share cigar tasting notes. We share cigars, not like, at the same time, but I'll send him some. He sends me some. We talk about the different whole things. It's a whole, love scene going on with us and cigars.
Okay, so I like that. I have a question. I like cigars.
Yeah.
But I don't like a giant one. what is a smaller cigar that I could have and enjoy and not feel like I was wasting $30 by stubbing it out halfway through?
Yeah, so I think you're probably going to want to look at the Corona size.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So, depending on how much time you have, you could go. So if you have an hour or less.
Yes.
I
don't think I would want to smoke a cigar for more than an hour.
All right. So
but definitely less.
Was it last year or whatever? I sent you a box of Oliva Serie V Milanio cigars. So those were in what they call Robusto size. So typically a little less than 5 inches long and about 45 or 48 inch like ring gauge, which is the circumference.
And fully enjoyed, but I feel like sometimes like less would be more for me. And I don't want like a little cigarello thing with the plastic. What are those? Those wine? What are those things?
Yeah,
called?
like the White Owls or the Havatampas or the
things.
Swisher Sweets or something like. No, like you want a premium handmade cigar.
When I used to smoke a lot of weed, I would appreciate a Swisher Sweet later into the night. I just don't do that much anymore.
So I think you want to look at the Corona size. And see where you're going to be at. I mean, that's still probably going to run you about. See, here's the thing with any decently made premium cigar. If you want to be in 30 minutes or less, then you're probably going to want to smoke something that you enjoy. And size isn't necessarily the overarching dictator, where you can smoke however much you want and then let it extinguish itself, and then come back to it a day or two later. And then relight it.
Here's what I need to do. I need to come to Cleveland. We need to go to, was it Mabel's?
Go to Mabel's for barbecue.
Go to Mabel's for barbecue. Go back to your place. Sit on the deck.
Yeah.
And spark up a couple fatties. And then just you teach me.
Yeah. I would love to impart my cigar wizardry on you.
Let's do it. All right. Okay.
So
when's your birthday?
July 10th.
There you go. Okay, I'll work towards that.
All right,
I'll come on.
We'll check it out. Anything else happening before we reconvene in February?
Let me think. Nope. Working on the book. It's due soon. Really got to get my ass in gear. No. Just don't eat the same thing all the time. Try duck.
Yeah.
Push yourself out of your comfort level. That's the important thing.
In February, we're going to be talking more in depth about knives. We're going to be talking about also the outline that I made that we didn't get to most of. And we'll also talk more about
Do we ever?
Something brand new that I never even had occurred to me that you would do, which would be dry aging poultry. So we'll talk more about that, which blew my mind.
By the way,
blew my mind.
I'm still alive to talk about it. So apparently it's okay.
Good. All right.
And what's crazy is you don't have to cut off all the outside ugly shit like you do with beef. You just cook it.
Yeah. Well,
fantastic.
I can't wait to dig into that. And I will find the F-bomb editorial that I made. We'll replay that in February as well. In the meantime, go to thecookingguy.com or subscribe to Sam's YouTube channel if you don't already, which I'm sure most of us do. And you will see him in the second hour of the first Tuesday going forward in 2023.
And I'll see you July 10th.
Those are your words. I'm not holding you to anything, but those are your words.
Let's work to that, shall we?
And next time we talk, we will talk to the American Sam the Cooking Guy. How about that? Got a ring to it. Thank you, sir. That's Sam the Cooking Guy right there, and we wish him good luck in the naturalization project or process tomorrow. Not a project. It was a project before. Now it's just a process.
Whole packers, full
great.
racks, legs and thighs.
Hold on. Give me a damn minute. Here we go. Big Papa Smokers is the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue, a curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies, getting you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. Known for the championship rubs and seasonings, popular flavors like Sweet Money, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow, Double Secret Steak Rub. 13 perfectly balanced flavors transforming ordinary meals into extraordinary meals. Also, the owner of Granny's Barbecue Sauce. If you're looking for new go-to sauce that will please everybody, Granny's is the one you're going to want to try. And they're selling cookers, and you know this. Looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use? Check out that Mac 2-Star General Pellet Cooker. How many of you got one for the holidays? I hope all of you did. Big Papa's is the exclusive Mac dealer, even offering special packages. If you're not a fan of pellet smokers or you don't know what grill you need, call them, 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727, or shop their website at bigpapasmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA smokers.com. We're back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
Thanking Sam the Cooking Guy for joining me for no less than 2 segments. So, for those of you watching currently, by the way, if you're listening to this on podcast, don't even bother. Don't bother. It's already gone if you're listening to on podcast. Fire up the old email machine and send me an email, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. In the subject line, put Hardcore Carnivore Black in the subject line. Don't put anything else. First one in gets the bottle of Hardcore Carnivore Black from Jess Pryles herself, who we will see on the show on the third Tuesday in the second hour. By the way, we will have some brand new guests coming up in January as well, and confirmed end of February, and I'll tease it now, coming back on the show after a triumphant debut, Rodney Scott will be joining us once more, I believe on the 28th, so the end day of February, the month itself. Let's go ahead and get out of here. All the way back in the first hour, Malcom Reed joined us, took him from the hunting blind into the studio. We talked, and now he's going back into the wild to continue the hunting ways. We also talked with Kell Phelps from the National Barbecue Association and the National Barbecue News, or the Barbecue News. We talked about the upcoming NBBQA conference, which is going to be taking place on February 15th through the 18th in Orlando, Florida, at the Wyndham Orlando Resort there, the celebration area, if I remember that correctly. But double check me, nbbqa.org, second hour, Sam the Cooking Guy. How about that? Hey, we have a winner all the way from Hawaii, aloha, to Lance Owen. He wins. Lance, resend me your shipping info, and I will get out to you just as slowly as possible because Hawaii is very far. But don't worry, it keeps well. I'm sure you'll love it. Again, getting back to it, we thank Sam the Cooking Guy for joining us in the second hour. Always a fun and enjoyable conversation, and you never know where we're going to zig and zag. If you're first time listening, appreciate you coming in tonight at any point and sharing your time with us. We do it every Tuesday from 9 to 11, and then it is podcasted after the fact and the best of show on Friday. So how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Bye-bye.
This is Michigan embedded correspondent John Solberg, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.